What would you do if a cop looked at you and said, "We have witnesses saying you did it"? If you start talking, defending, or guessing, you can build the case against yourself in seconds. That one sentence is designed to make your brain panic before your mouth catches up. Hit subscribe right now because what I'm about to show you could keep you out of handcuffs and out of court. Like this video too, because when this happens for real, you need these words in your head fast. Here's the reality. When an officer says they have witnesses, you do not know if that is true, half true, or pure pressure. Most people have no idea how fast a normal stop or street talk turns into a criminal case. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn the first sentence you say. You will learn the question that tells you if you're trapped or free, and the line that blocks a search. You will also learn the words that shut down more questioning, and the court cases behind all of this in plain English. Sometimes police really do have a witness. Sometimes they are testing you. Either way, your job is not to solve their case for them. Your job is to protect yourself, stay calm, and stop feeding them answers they can twist later. If you miss this, one nervous sentence can follow you into an interview room, a report, and a courtroom. It can follow you into your worst week of the year. Now let's talk about why this hits people so hard. You hear, "We have witnesses," and your brain screams, "Clear this up right now." So you start explaining where you were, who you were with, and why somebody might have said your name. You explain why you touched that thing, why you ran, and why you looked nervous. And that is exactly where people get cooked. Listen closely because this is critical. You do not beat pressure by talking more. You beat pressure by talking less and talking smarter. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the pattern is always the same. The driver or suspect thinks honesty means answering every question on the spot. But stress makes your memory messy, your words sloppy, and your timeline shaky. Then the officer writes down the one part that helps them. Former police officers have confirmed this works because people feel the need to defend themselves right away. Your silence feels weird for 10 seconds. Your bad explanation can hurt you for 10 years. The first thing you do is stop the flood of words and clearly invoke your right to stay silent. Let me show you exactly what that sounds like. You look at the officer and say this: "Officer, I am invoking my right to remain silent, and I will not answer questions." Word for word. Memorize that line. You're not being rude. You're not acting guilty. You are using the rule that says the government does not get to force you to help prove a case against yourself. This is 100% legal. And the key word here is clearly, quiet alone is not always enough. Nodding is not enough. Looking down is not enough. A long pause is not enough. You have to say it out loud so there is no confusion later. Why does this work so well? Because once you start giving little answers, officers can keep building. They ask where you were, then who saw you, then why your story changed, then why your friend said something different, then why you looked away, then why you paused. It becomes a ladder, and every answer gives them one more step. When you clearly say you're staying silent, you stop handing them bricks. Bad way. Most drivers say, "What witness? That's crazy. I was only there for a second, and I didn't do anything." Then the officer hears admissions, time, place, and panic. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I am invoking my right to remain silent, and I will not answer questions." Then the officer gets less to work with and less to twist. Watch what happens when you do this right. The officer may repeat the claim. They may say, "If you didn't do anything, why won't you talk?" They may act offended. They may go quiet and stare at you. That is pressure, not proof. Do not fill the silence. Repeat your line if needed. "I am invoking my right to remain silent." Then stop. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. In Burkus versus Tompkins, the court said you need to speak up clearly. In Salinas versus Texas, the court said that just standing there quiet before arrest was not enough by itself. In plain English, if you want the shield, you need to say you want the shield. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it shows you did the smart thing early and clearly. And one more hard truth for you. Police are sometimes allowed to bluff about evidence. In Frazier versus Cupp, the Supreme Court said a lie about another person talking did not make a confession unusable. Plain English again, if you confess just because they say somebody talked, the confession can still hurt you. That is why your first move is silence, not a speech. Still watching? Good. Drop a comment if you've ever felt the urge to explain yourself. That instinct is exactly what gets people in trouble. The second move is to find out if you are being held. Here is the question you use. Am I being detained or am I free to leave? Those exact words. Say them calm. Say them once. If they dodge it, say it again. Here's the reality. A lot of people never ask this, so they stay talking long after they could have left. Officers know that if you keep chatting, they keep collecting. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. If the stop is over and they have no reason to keep you, your best move may be to leave quietly. This matters most in traffic stops and street contacts. Give your license, registration, and insurance when required. Follow lawful commands like keeping your hands visible or stepping out if ordered. But after that, if they start fishing with lines like, "We have witnesses," your next job is to learn your status. Are you being held, or are they hoping you volunteer more? Bad way. Most drivers say, "Sure, I can explain. I was over there, but I left before anything happened." Then the stop gets longer and the report gets stronger. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Am I being detained, or am I free to leave?" Then the officer has to decide whether to let them go or own the detention. Watch what happens when you use that line. If the officer says you're free to leave, you leave. Calmly, no speech, no final rant. "No, see, I told you so." You say, "Okay, I'm leaving," and you go. If the officer says you are detained, go right back to silence. You do not keep arguing facts on the roadside. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings, too. In Rodriguez versus United States, the court said, police cannot stretch a traffic stop longer than needed. They need a real reason pointing to crime. Plain English, they cannot turn every ticket into a fishing trip. Asking if you are detained or free to leave forces the moment into the open. Former police officers have confirmed this works because it tells the camera you're not volunteering to chat. And if they say, "Why are you in such a hurry?" do not bite. You're not required to make them feel better about your rights. Stay calm and smart. If you're free to go, leave. If you're detained, stop talking. The third move is the one that saves people from the biggest mistake of all. If they ask to look in your car, your bag, your phone, or your pockets, you say this: "I do not consent to any searches." Word for word. Short, clean, no extra words. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection because once you say yes, you give away ground. A lot of people think saying no makes them look guilty. That is false. This is 100% legal. You have the right to refuse consent. And refusing consent is not the same as fighting the police. Let me show you exactly how smart drivers do it. They keep their hands visible. They do not pull away. They do not reach suddenly. They do not argue. They just say the line. Why is this so important when an officer says they have witnesses? Because that line creates urgency. You start thinking, maybe if I let them look, they will see I did nothing. That is the trap. Searches do not always stay small. A quick look becomes a deeper look. A bag becomes a box. A car becomes every corner of the car. If they find something unrelated, you still own that problem. Bad way. Most drivers say, "Go ahead, I have nothing to hide." Then the officer searches everywhere, and the driver loses the chance to challenge consent later. Good way. Smart drivers say, "I do not consent to any searches." Then the officer has to rely on actual legal grounds, not your permission. In Schneckloth versus Bustamante, the Supreme Court said a search can be valid if consent was voluntary. Plain English. If you say yes, the law may treat that yes as enough. That is why you are no matter so much. And in Florida versus Ximeno, the court spoke on scope. They said, permission to search a car can reach containers inside if the search fits the goal. Plain English. One little yes can become a much bigger search than you expected. So hear me clearly. If they ask, you say, "I do not consent to any searches." If they search anyway, do not resist, do not grab, do not block, do not fight on the roadside. Your goal is to make your refusal clear and stay safe. If the search was bad, your lawyer fights that. Most people already clicked away. If you're still here, you're in the top 10%. Drop a comment saying, "I'm still here," because this next move keeps you from ruining your work. The fourth move is what you do if they keep pressing, especially if you're not free to go. You say this: "I want a lawyer." Then you stop talking. Not mostly stop, fully stop. A lot of people mess this part up. They say, "Maybe I should get a lawyer?" That is weak. That sounds like thinking out loud. You need a clear sentence. "I want a lawyer." Defense attorneys use this exact line because there is no guessing what you meant. Bad way. Most drivers say, I can explain, but maybe I should talk to someone first. Then questioning keeps rolling and more damaging statements come out. Good way. Smart drivers say, "I want a lawyer." Then they stop answering questions. Why does this work? Because once you ask for a lawyer clearly, you are drawing a hard line. You are saying this conversation will not keep going through me alone. In Edwards versus Arizona, the court said when a person asks for a lawyer, police should not keep questioning. Plain English. You ask for a lawyer, and the smart move is to shut up and wait. Here's where people blow it. The officer keeps a friendly tone. "Look, I'm trying to help you." Or, "Only guilty people ask for lawyers." That is a trap made out of fake urgency. You do not answer it. You do not explain why you want a lawyer. You do not say you are innocent. You do not start chatting about your kids, your job, your route, or your day. The moment you restart the conversation, you can weaken your own protection. Let me show you exactly what strong looks like. The officer says, "We have 2 witnesses." You say, "I am invoking my right to remain silent." The officer keeps pushing. You say, "Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" The officer says you are being detained and asks to search your car. You say, I do not consent to any searches. The officer keeps asking questions. You say, I want a lawyer. Then you stop. That is clean. That is calm. That is powerful. And yes, you may still get arrested. That can happen even when you do everything right. But now your own mouth is not the weapon they used against you. That matters. Now tie the law together with me. Frazier v. Cupp matters regarding police bluffing about evidence. Burgos versus Tompkins and Salinas versus Texas teach. If you want silence to protect you, say it clearly. Rodriguez versus United States matters because police cannot drag out a normal traffic stop forever. Schneckloth versus Bustamante matters because consent makes searches much easier for police. Edwards v. Arizona matters because once you ask for a lawyer, questioning is supposed to stop. Your best protection is not a clever story. It is a short script you can repeat under pressure. Let me walk you through a scenario. It is night. You get pulled over for a broken light. The officer says, we have witnesses who put your car near a theft. Want to tell me what happened? The wrong way. You laugh nervously and start explaining you were at a friend's place, then the gas station. Now your story has gaps. The officer hears you place yourself near the scene and sees stress. The officer asks to look in your car. You say, sure, I have nothing to hide. Now the stop gets longer. Your car gets searched. Your words go in the report. Maybe they find nothing, but you helped build the mess. Now the right way. Same stop, same claim about witnesses. You stay calm and invoke your right to remain silent. The officer pushes. You ask if you are being detained or free to leave. If the officer says you are free to leave, you say, okay, I'm leaving, and you go. If the officer says you are detained, you stay calm and say nothing more about the accusation. Then comes the search request. You say, I do not consent to any searches. If the officer keeps pressing questions, you say, I want a lawyer. Then you stop. No side speech, no arguing, no explaining. See the difference? In the wrong version, your mouth keeps giving. In the right version, your mouth stops giving. Next video, I'm breaking down what to say when cops claim they smell weed. Subscribe right now. Lock this in. First, say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent. Second, ask, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Third, say, I do not consent to any searches. Fourth, say, I want a lawyer, and then actually stop talking. You need a simple script. Short words, calm voice, strong line. Hit subscribe. Smash! Like, if this script just gave you a better shot at protecting yourself, and drop a comment telling me which line you're going to memorize first. Stay safe out there.